Hi guys, I'm Sirken. It's Monday. It's been so long that I fucked up multiple things just now. Multiple things just got fucked up. Um, yeah, so that's my story. I'm glad you guys are here. It's been a long time. I have a couple people here. If I can get to Skype, because Skype. There we go. Um, Umbrella and AC author Christopher are my wonderful guests. Umbrella, for people that don't know anything about who you are, say hi. Tell them who you are.
Hi, I'm
Give
Unbrella.
them the backs. Give them your resume. Give them your EQ resume.
No, that's all right.
Give them
Who'd
part
you
of
vote?
it.
Let's get right into it. Who'd you vote for?
No, fuck you. They have no idea who you are. Tell them who you are. I don't care about that.
I don't know. I'm a cleric. I played server for like 4 years, and then I got clean. I
Mm-hmm.
shook the addiction. I got clean.
Uh-huh. What do you do now for the server?
My whole life turned around.
What are you
I
doing
lost
now?
weight.
I
I
don't,
gained muscle. I started picking up hot girls.
I'm super glad to hear about all the big things you're doing. What are you doing now for the wonderful Project 1999 community?
I don't know. I don't really contribute in a positive way. I just do petitions for select
Right.
guilds.
For select guilds, not just any
For
guilds?
select guilds. Well, only ones that have something to offer, right? So I'll represent any guild able to kill mobs that have loot that I want.
Okay, okay. What do you charge for such a feat?
It's basically this. If I get your opposing guild suspended, I just want one pick, loot of my choice, out of like the whole suspension cycle. So if you get 40 mobs during that period of time, I just want one piece of loot. It's pretty generous.
I
Pretty
feel that
generous.
is pretty fair, yeah.
That's pretty fair.
Um AC.
Hey, hey
Hi.
guys, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, you know the thing. Tell them who you are in case they have no idea who you are.
I'm AC Gamer, guys. You can find me on YouTube and on Twitch, and I do videos for EverQuest as well as I should say, as a lot of other games out there on YouTube as well. So, probably about 1 to 2 new games every week, if not more. And then, of course, the old but very faithful EverQuest series.
Do you have any games that you do like super regularly besides EQ?
Yeah, a few of them. TerraTech, EverQuest 2, EverQuest Live. Um, that's pretty much it for now on the regular basis. But like I said, I add in a few other games from time to time. Pretty much every genre you guys can imagine. So if you're into first-person shooters, RTSs, whatever you're happen to be interested in, you probably will find it on my channel at some point.
A plus. P99 character guild. Tell me some things.
My main character is level 56 Cleric, although I am a little bit alt crazy, so you will see me on a great number of characters as time goes on.
Dude, just level
As
that cleric, man.
Yeah, I've been kind of going the slow route. I got this guy up to 65, I believe, on live back in the day, and he had his cleric epic, and he was raiding and doing all the hardcore stuff. Didn't really find that as appealing the second time around, so would kind of like to just take it slow and enjoy the journey along the way. Maybe see
No,
some zones.
no, dude, there's no reason to do that. Just fucking blast your way to 60, start raiding, get Nick gains.
You guys
You'll
make
learn,
raiding sound
dude.
so amazing.
You'll learn. They're like, EQ's not really, I mean, people think like you play to have fun. You don't. You play for pixels. Just get your pixels and move on.
Not the group of guys we got going on, man. We really just play to hang out and have a good time. We
Just
no, I
fucking
know.
around with you.
We end up getting some pretty good loot from time to time, but yeah, we're not quite up to the level of
Fuck,
guild
Karen, I
benchmark.
overcooked it. Sorry.
You be nice to Karen.
Hold on. Ow. This shit's hot. I overcooked it. I overcooked the meat.
You are literally the worst human being walking around on this planet right now.
I mean, it's not bad. We can still go for tacos if you want.
No, let's just eat it.
All right. It's delicious.
Let's
I'm back.
just
Sorry
eat
about
it,
that.
she says. Like, fuck it, the night's ruined. I don't even want tacos.
Get
Just-
it off that so it doesn't keep cooking. Put it on a plate for me.
Karen, I'm on the phone. Hold on. All right. Give me 1 sec.
All right, so AC, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give him a minute to get his life together.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No, fuck you. Get your life together. What guild
Dude,
are
I
you
got
in?
the meat. It's fine. Whatever.
But yeah, we just we like to hang out and have fun and just kind of see the low end of EverQuest. If you're looking for more of the rating gear stuff, you're gonna have to watch some other people's channels. Definitely Sirken and
I don't
Trust me,
raid.
the high end is arguably the low end.
I have
yeah,
zero
you show a lot of
DKP.
it though.
I don't so much anymore. I did during the class system because it was super easy because so many things were being rotated. But now it's a pain in the ass, and I would literally have to spend like I'd have to be like a player. Like I'd have to be online for like 36 hours bouncing around zones to catch different
For what?
pops if I wanted to record raids and whatnot.
Oh. Oh, really? You don't have timers?
I mean, I could look them up, but I'd still have to be on for those things. It'd be the same as answering a bat phone.
Ugh.
And looking up timers is a giant pain in the ass. It's not as easy. It's not as easy as just being like, when does it spawn? And it's like, oh, that spawns in 4 hours. It's not like that. I have to punch
You gotta do
numbers
math?
into a web. I don't do the math. I have a website that does the math for me.
Jesus Christ.
It's actually Emelinda showed that to me like years ago, like 4.5 years ago.
Yeah, that's who you aspire to be.
Look, I am absolutely not aspiring to be fucking Emelinda, but that website was a goddamn life-saving thing. Because I can't when something's like, oh, this will spawn in like 122,000 seconds. I can't math that in any kind of time. I'll forget what I'm even doing.
That sounds awful.
It is awful. Hi, Tellin and Chupa and Rogan and Niall, and there were other people, and I missed you guys, and I'm sorry about that. Oh, Rogan says he saw you Lawyer Quest in real life.
He saw me Lawyer Quest in real life?
Face to face Lawyer Quest with another guild leader.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. At Cheesecake Factory.
See, we take P99 stuff super serious here.
Fuck yeah, dude. We all met up.
We
went out to
settle it at the
Factory.
Cheesecake Factory.
We squashed some serious beef too.
We send the server manager to supervise the conflict. It was good. Luckily, Rogan's... Ooh, I don't know if I can make jokes about being on the clock. No, I'm not going to do it. Look, the point is, he left the P99 office building to handle that because it was super important. Oro...
The P99 staff truly cares.
We care a lot. We care about so many things. We care about all the things. Oro wants to see Lawyer Quest. You don't ever want to see Lawyer Quest. You don't ever want to see it. I
would love to do a public Lawyer Quest.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh my god, yes I would.
You know
I'd show up to watch
firsthand.
that.
People would watch it, sure. People would love to watch it, but
Every Monday night, you should just fucking lay it all out there. All the petitions should be ready with frats for the public, and then just go head to head.
it's not good. You've dealt with these people like when they're not worried about how they look or egos and public opinions, and you feel like making it work or making it public would make that better somehow.
Absolutely.
I feel like you're an insane person.
Because they're invested. They actually play the game. It matters to them. It doesn't matter to me. I don't play.
I mean, still though, for you to get your pixels and your earn your 1 DKP, you still
That's true.
you still need a successful thing. Your lawyer reputation will start to suffer if you know your winning percentage goes down.
I still think it should be maybe like once a month or something. You select one hot ticket petition, like a good one, and then just make it public for them.
There was this one guy who went absolutely like batshit crazy on a different staff member in one of the threads, and then he asked me to deal with it because he didn't want to deal with the guy anymore. So I chimed in, and he went crazy on me too. And so then I went and looked up his a few of his things. I looked up his forum stuff. I looked up his doesn't matter. I looked up a few of his things to see what kind of comments he leaves on places. And I learned that he's not just a piece of shit to me and Bracknar. He is just a piece of shit in general. And so I went ahead and gave him 7 days off for every instance of staff abuse in that thread, as well as what he did.
How much did that amount to?
It was like 40 something days, I believe. I feel like it was longer. I don't know. I know the actual thread had damn near 30 posts, and most of it was him telling me to just ban him. But I didn't. I suspended him, and when he comes back, I'm sure he'll make a lot of noise, and then we'll see what happens.
Can't wait.
I like to play with people sometimes. I don't like to just outright ban them. I feel it's not fair to me. Like I'm cheating myself out of a good time.
I'm laughing just thinking about an old instance.
What
Can't really share it, but
oh well, then fuck you.
Tell you later.
I mean, is it going to be in the book? Is it?
It's definitely in the book.
That's A+. AC, I don't know
It's
if you know
definitely
this,
in the book.
but if you've watched my stream, you may have heard me mention that one day I'm going to have a tell-all book, and Unbrella here is going to be one of the fine co-authors of that there book.
Oh yeah, what's your take on the whole Sirken thing? Coming down on the.
That's not a good chapter for the book. There shouldn't be a chapter. There shouldn't be a. Sirken's a saint, and that's pretty much the whole chapter. The whole. It's going to be one page with like size 18 font, and that's it. You turn the page, and I'm a saint, and then boom, you move on. There's nothing to say about Sirken.
I feel like there's going to be some missing chapters in there.
Look, here's the thing. There's going to be a lot of people who have horrible things to say about Sirken. And very, very few of those people have actual legitimate reason to dislike me on the level.
I don't know.
Really? You think a lot of people do? You think a lot of people
I have legitimately disliked you at times.
I mean, you know what?
For being... it's like, not that you do anything else, it's just so fucking lazy sometimes.
Look.
That it puts me in a blind rage.
Look. Sunday and Monday are bad days for Sirken, and
motherfucker, Monday through Monday have been bad days for you.
All right, look, Sirken's been going through a patch of different sicknesses. I've just been getting the flu over and over and over again, and I haven't been able to shake it. Oh shit, we got questions. Is it gonna be fiction? I mean,
no, that would suck. I think fact would be way better than fiction for this book.
I could just get drunk and sit here and make a bunch of shit up, and
yeah, that wouldn't be fun.
That would be fiction, but that wouldn't be entertaining. Although
that's not really a tell-all. That's just like a telltale.
I mean, if we give people the right to make a chapter on Sirken, though, it's pretty much going to be the same thing. Because most of the shit people say about me is just made up bullshit. I could see where, like, raid people are all like, meh, Sirken's the worst, meh. Like, I get that.
What other kind of people are there?
You might not believe this, but your raider people are not the majority of the server.
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody down on the lower end thinks you're doing a pretty good job, but I would definitely love to hear like the other side and see like the craziness that's going on, because all we ever hear about, the people who don't raid is, all the crazy, petitions that are coming in, and we never really get to see or hear about the details. So that tell all kind of appealing.
What guild are you in?
I'm in Blackheart Pirates.
Oh, okay.
So they do a little bit, but nowhere near the like dragons or anything like that. Mainly TOV is like the highest stuff we do.
I don't know what that is.
Shut up. Blackheart Pirates has been in TOV?
Yeah, for a little while now.
Like Halls of Testing?
No, not quite that far yet.
I see.
If you haven't done Halls of Testing, what do you do in TOV?
We kill the I forgot what the other hall is called. That
West
the
TOV?
breastplate. It might be.
Oh.
And you
Yeah, we get some pretty decent stuff from there.
Oh, dude. There are games to be made.
I had no idea your guild was doing things in TOV.
Is that a bad thing? Like, did they break some kind of rule that I'm not aware of?
No. I mean, you guys are absolutely allowed in TOV.
Oh,
It's just that's the zone I spend most. Like, I know that zone. That's the only. All right, so zones have numbers, and the only zone number that I actually know is Temple of Ishan, because I hate.
How do you not have VP? How do you not have VP memorized?
Well, VP is easy. I just type Vishan real quick. But Temple Vishan messes my whole brain up. So I can just do zone 124 and boom, I'm in TOV.
Why don't you just make it a hotkey?
Because I'll click it at the wrong time and then I'll swear and curse and kick things. I'm running out of things to kick, Umbrella. I've spent the last month of my life kicking shit over. So
I'm out of things to kick.
I'm running out of things to kick.
Don't most of your quests in TOV do or have something to do with the dragons? The name mobs that are in there?
That's some of them. Like the ones in West, there's a few in West TOV. They're quest mobs, like the big name ones.
Yeah, because we've never run into any issues. I mean, no training or, pretty much nothing. I mean, when we go in there, there's nobody there whatsoever. I always thought for a while you guys had it on like a schedule, but from what I've heard, it's just kind of open.
The windows are super close together, and so other than this 36-hour patch of bullshit, TOV's pretty good because people aren't training the zone around.
What do you guys do for that anyways? I know you're over there lawyer questing. What are some of the little tricks of the trade that people might want to know about? Kind of curious as to how does that even get started?
How does what get started?
Your lawyer question, you go on the forums or you hit them up in game? Like what's something that they actually do if they
just show up?
Nah, that's amateur shit, dude. When you're pro, I just fucking call Sirken on the telephone.
God damn it.
Nice.
Can't say shit like that. People believe you. You're part of the problem. You just say shit and people hear it and they just blindly fucking believe it. They're like, oh, well, I mean, if I heard it on the internet, it's got to be true. And then I'm going to hear about that later in life. They're going to be like, well, Umbrella said that he speed dialed you and you showed up at his house and helped him.
I don't know, dude. I mean, you don't remember the time you passed out on my couch after EverQuest.
I hate you. I hate you so much sometimes. Oh, god damn it.
There was this one time after EverQuest, it was when you, me, Hoku, and Darabelle were screaming at each other, and I think it was either you or Darabelle. It was like, don't you nerds live
I would
within
never
an hour
scream.
of each other? Don't you nerds live within an hour of each other? Why don't you fucking just meet up, have a couple beers, and work this shit out in person? And we did. And then Hoku and I got shit-faced, and I'm like, all right, dude, you can just pass out on my couch. I'm not going to make you drive a fucking hour and a half back. But I know that you and Rogan knew that we were meeting up. So at the end of the night, I fucking grabbed my laptop, which is in the living room, and I brought it into my bedroom and fucking locked the door because I was like, this motherfucker, if the bat phone goes off in the middle of the night, is not getting FTE on my fucking laptop.
I mean, that would be like self-sabotage at that point. Should have waited for him to start running and then close the laptop.
Just pull the Wi-Fi.
Just yoink.
Fucking nerd. And then petition him for training.
Oh, that'd be A+. That'd be some horribly corrupt petition quest, but I like it. I wouldn't want to be the GM dealing with that specific instance, but I like it. I also feel like I've heard from multiple people in both of your former guilds that neither one of them were thrilled that you got along with the other one.
No, they're not.
They were not at
You,
all.
no. It's fucking awesome. I loved reading the like internal drama
Like,
about it.
well, I mean, if you had beers with the guy, clearly you're BFFs and sworn to his guild now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And vice versa. He swore allegiance to you because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I got off topic. What other stuff AC has your guild done smaller than TOV?
They love the Plane of Sky or Plane of Air. They go there almost every week. Seems to be. I keep getting them to try to go to other places, but they seem to want to go back and finish off those quests. They're not really all that great, in my opinion. Now you can find some better stuff in a lot of high-level zones that would take half the amount of time. You guys ever go there? Big fans back in the day or no?
Back in the
Of what?
day, Sky? Plane of Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, I loved that zone because it was like many, many hours of just kind of fucking around and hanging out with guildies. Like I was a necro, so I just sat on my ass and dumped mana to a couple choice clerics and called it a day.
I remember Plane of Sky. When I first started playing on the server, though, Plane of Sky, originally when I first started, Plane of Sky wasn't out. And then when it came out, it was just a matter of mage farming. And as a cleric, all I would do is I would like wait an hour and then res up all the dead mages, but there's no click stick, so you get like 3 reses off. And then you have to med for an hour.
I don't know. I just I find the corpsing of the keys and everything to be kind of a pain at the end of every single one of them. And then you always have people who don't show up towards the next one. I think Plane of Fear and Plane of Hate get pretty equal loot and a little bit easier to do, in my opinion.
Does I should actually know this, but actually, you know what? I'm not even going to ask that question because I feel like I should just know it. That's a question to ask someone on staff behind closed doors when players aren't watching.
So I'll tell the story Rogan was talking about in chat. I mean, I think it's funny, but we all met up. It was me, Hokushin, Snackies, and Rogan, and we met up at Cheesecake Factory, which is like, I live in Boston. I live in the middle of the city, and Cheesecake Factory is maybe like 30 minutes away from where I live. And so I'm coming back, and we had a few beers, but not enough to be like fucking retarded. I mean, I felt comfortable behind the wheel, and we were there for a few hours. Anyway, I get in the car, and I'm like so close to home. I'm close to my exit, and all of a sudden they close down the interchange from like 4 lanes down to 1. There's some serious construction going on, and I'm like stuck in traffic, and I have to shit so fucking bad. And I'm stuck in traffic. There's nowhere to go. It's literally maybe like a mile to the next exit, and I've been stuck in traffic for an hour to go a mile. So I just get off, and I drive in the breakdown lane. And I'm cruising, and finally a cop fucking gets me. And so he, like, flags me down, pull over, get to the other end. He's like, pull over. And I'm like, I can't pull over any further, man. I'm already in the fucking breakdown lane. How much further do you want me to pull over? Anyway, he comes to the window, and he's like, what excuse do you have that you are driving in the breakdown lane? And I just looked at him. I'm like, look, man, I know this isn't an excuse and it's embarrassing, but I have to shit so bad. And I didn't expect to be backed up in traffic for an hour to go 1 mile. And he's like, he just gives me this fucking look. Like, you're such an asshole, kid. And he's like, license registration. I'm like, fuck. So he comes, he like just looks at it. He doesn't even go back in his car. He just looks at it, hands it back to me. He's like, obviously there's not much I can do around here to solve your problem, but I'm going to give you an escort. Stay behind me. I'm going to take you to the tunnel. Once you get to the tunnel, get back into traffic. Do not go any further in the breakdown lane. And he gave me an escort all the way up to the fucking tunnel, which is only maybe like a 5-minute wait after that. And then I got off and I was home in like 10 minutes.
I don't understand how that happens.
I don't understand how it is. And the first question he asked me too is like, have you been drinking this evening? And I was like, no, dude, I just got off work. I told him I stopped at Chipotle for a burrito. And I think that's what like really gave the story credibility. Because anybody that's had Chipotle knows you got like 30 minutes at best.
I've never, ever, ever had a cop do anything nice for me ever in my life. Ever. Let alone give me an escort because I had to shit really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I get pulled over. I get tickets for everything. I can't talk my way out of shit. But the one time I did, I literally talked my way out of shit.
Oh, that's an A+ story. I mean, you could have told him, like, I was talking about EverQuest with some nerd pals, and we had burritos.
He would have breathalyzed me and taken my ass to jail if I fucking
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why I get harassed, because I bring up the EverQuest and the nerd pals. Alright, well... Yeah, I think Rogan's right. You have got to be the luckiest piece of shit ever.
Yeah, I just read that.
That does not happen to normal people. One PC gamer says you got FTE on taking a dump. Oh, god damn it. Has your guild done any FTE foot racing?
No, yet. That's why I'm kind of glad we're staying out of that whole side of the guild stuff or the raid stuff. One day, though. And it sounds like we might get him to represent us, because he seems to know his way behind all that stuff. How did you fall into that, man? Did you just kind of one day, like, nobody else had taken care of it, or what?
For what?
For all the petition questing that you're doing.
Me or Sirken?
You.
I mean, it's just something that kind of came about naturally. So when it started, I mean, petitions have gone back and forth forever. Back to like DA and IB, I think probably started it. But I had a guild, forceful entry, and we went head to head with TMO, which had control over the server for a long time. And there were no FTE shouts back then, so it was kind of like you would just race to kill the mob, and then you would find out, you'd have to like ask the GMs who originally had it, like who originally had FTE, and then the loot would be awarded or whatever. It was a real bullshit system. And then I don't know if it was just like the evolution of the game, or if it was because of like, you know, our non-literal petitioning to have FTE shouts actually implemented, but then they did, which ended up causing problems of its own. And because there was a constant need for GM intervention, it just kind of like developed to like GMs on speed dial because the petition queue wasn't fast enough, and we were just like filling the petition queue with more bullshit than the GMs needed. So it's kind of easier to deal with on demand. And there's two sides to every story, you know, when you're matching up logs and fraps and shit like that. So it was just kind of like the evolution of how it went. And it just kind of became like guild leaders. I happen to be just one of the figures that led a guild. And I was just around the server for a long time, and then Hokushin with the same thing. And now it's pretty much devolved into Detox and Break-In. And I think formerly it was like Detox and Hokushin, but it wasn't really like a formal process or anything anybody really aspires to do. It's just something that kind of comes about, and it's an unfortunate nature of, you know, P99. I think it's just native to a game that doesn't have instancing, to be honest.
Well, that's good, though, because instancing, I think, kind of kills groups off, to be honest. It's that and Mercenaries, I think, killed live, in my opinion. I could never go back there and really get the experience I'm looking for that this one has.
For what?
You know, compared to live to this one, just the fact that it has the Mercenaries and the instancing, and
Oh, yeah.
you want that slower gameplay, this one definitely will give it for you.
I think it's just like, instancing is just a gross concept to me. It's like playing a one-player game.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That's why no other game really captures my. I mean, I haven't really played P99 in almost a couple of years now. Mostly because my time just doesn't allow for it. Otherwise, I probably would. But I can't imagine like playing a game that's not open world. To me, that's like the height of competition, especially when you go back to the VP days when it was no rules, no CSR zone, and you could You could literally do whatever the fuck you wanted to get a dragon. You could train other guilds. You could just form a all rogue group and KS a dragon. I mean, it's cheap, but to me, like, being able to deflect, defend against that, or build an offense to do that was the real competition. You could use any spell, manipulate any mechanic. I think a lot of the rules in place now restrict a lot of the genius that EQ mechanics allow for.
You think that would actually have ever kind of peaked out at some point where guilds were figuring their tactics out? Like you said, with the wizards or the rogues kind of trying to kill Stu at the last minute. That was something that happened on live before they started doing all the, instances and as many dragons as you wanted. Do you think that would have come to a point ahead where people were like, oh, you bring wizards, we're going to do this. You bring that, we're going to do this. And there wouldn't have been that much competition? Or you think that would kind of keep developing?
I think what ended up happening is people started to quit, but it wasn't really people that had never experienced the content before that were quitting. It was people that had best in slot everything that had been farming VP for years. And then those people started to say, well, this is more of a headache. It now doesn't take us 45 minutes to clear the whole zone. Now it's taking us like 15, 16 hours to clear the zone because we have another guild in here just toying with us, training us, maybe not with any real intent to even kill it, just because there was someone else in there griefing them. So I think the people who already had everything they wanted out of the zone kind of quit. But even when the zone became CSR, you saw things like you would never think of before, like a pet would be high sunned. And you would spawn a pet at a dragon, and then if it spawned during the day, you'd have a bard in the group to high sun it back to its bind point to immediately get FTE on the dragon, right? To beat anybody who was racing. You were having people use levitate over cliffs so that you could drop because of the rate of gravity. The speed of gravity when it drops is faster than Spirit of Wolf. And just people manipulating the littlest things that you would never think a spell was intended to be used for or a mechanic was able to be used for. And people were twisting them to their favor to gain the competitive advantage. And I just think because a lot of that shit has been limited and you can't do X, Y, and Z now, I don't think you can actually, people aren't able to experience or realize the full potential of what some of these spells and mechanics are actually capable of. People have taken them pretty far, but I don't think people have been able to experience just how far they can go.
Yeah, I never knew that about the falling thing. That was faster than Spirit of Wolf.
Yeah, and one thing, and it ended up getting banned, but the trick was there are these, as an example, Shadow Man dropped this mask that lets you cast one cast of Shadow Step, and you could hug a wall, hug the right wall when you're going down a ramp, and the only way that it would port you would be straight down, so you would get an advantage, right? It would port you 50 yards in front of your opponent when you're doing a foot race. And that's something people used to loot those fucking masks and just destroy them. They never had value.
Yeah. You guys are the worst. Literally the worst.
Shiny brass idols, people would form corpses underneath Trachanon, just littered with shiny brass idols. So you could sit there and every 18 seconds just loot a new one to stall until you had a large enough raid force to kill it, because it was such a contested mob over the teeth for keys.
I mean, that sounds interesting on one side, but then the other side is, how does a new player get into that? Because that seems like a lot of plat for a lot of items that you would have to use and the knowledge that you'd have to gain before you even had a chance at winning.
Not really, because most guilds sponsor the recharges and those reagents for the most part, or will help you get most of them.
I mean, if your guild's big enough.
Yeah, but that's pretty much what it was. There's a vacuum, right? So a new player starts out, they do kind of what you're doing. You join a low-level guild for leveling, like Blackheart Pirates. You build up some friends, you get some of the basics, you clear the plains, you get some of the fundamental gear that'll help you. Then you apply for one of the bigger guilds, and then there was really only one or two powerhouse guilds on the server at any given time. You join one of those two, and then you kind of just ride it out to the promised land of pixels.
The promised land of pixels. There's been 3. There's been times where it was 3. Because Forceful Entry was making noise in VP with TMO and IB.
That was a joint venture, though. Back then, like, none of those 3 guilds could have really stood alone. IB ended up doing it when FE merged with TMO. They showed some, like, crazy-ass resolve and built up and gave TMO quite a run for its money. But really, at any given time, there's only really 2 self-sustaining guilds. I mean, even I think for a while at the beginning of Velius, right, it was even fewer than that. I think Rampage depended on Taken at one point, while Forsaken was dependent on Asgard.
Yes.
But none of them could have really competed or weren't competing standalone.
Well, wasn't Forsaken and Rampage both losing members at that point? Like they just lacked bodies. Or am I wrong?
I don't know.
I feel like
Probably.
that was the issue. Like they just didn't have as many people logging in, and so they were pulling Asgard and Taken, and then I don't know who did it first, but one guild merged, so the other guild merged, and boom, we have Aftermath and Awaken.
Yeah, but I don't think EQ is inherently, like, Velius content isn't really that hard. It's a numbers game. And so that's the problem. You know, only one guild can have
sustain your shit
people.
longer. Like, that's the only real difference, I think.
But it's difficult to keep people incentivized to keep playing day after day after day. Once they already have everything they want, and those people are the real heart and soul of any guild. You know, you have these people that have incredible skill sets. Yeah. You know, like Hoku, there's no doubt, like, 2 of the best pullers FTUs I've seen are, like, Hokushin and Nokken. Yeah, and, I mean, Hoku is quit, but Nokken still plays. He has almost everything he wants, but still day-to-day, he carries on his back a bunch of players that just don't do shit for the guild at the end of the day. And that's for Aftermath. And Awakened has the same problem. Every guild does. There's a few people at the top that, like, already have it. They have the skill set. They have all the items. They know the mechanics. And then there's a bunch of players at the bottom that just don't pull their own weight. And then at some point, these players that are carrying it say, you know what, fuck it. Like, I've got everything I wanted. The people who aren't carrying their weight are sucking the fun out of the game for me. Then they quit. And then when they quit and the guild starts losing mobs, other people start to quit. And it starts like a domino.
Well, yeah, most people are logging in for their friends. And when your friends stop logging in, you lose your real reason for logging in. Because it's not, like you said, it's not for pixels at that point. I mean, they're logging in because their buddies are logging in. I don't know why they feel obligated to still kill literally everything that spawns every week. Like the world is gonna end if they don't. But I mean,
it sounds like you lose members if you don't, right?
It's not. I don't think it's necessarily you lose members. I think that's a general way to put it. I think it's more you lose friends. Some people really rely on P99 as like for the social aspect. And then when one guild starts to lose too many times in a row, people start logging in. But for every person that doesn't log in, that's somebody's friend that doesn't play anymore and they lose contact with. And everyone's connected in some way, right? So, like, I stopped playing. 2 of my good friends are like, well, I only kept logging in because Umbrella kept logging in. So now the game's not as fun for me anymore. And pixels will only keep you interested for so long. Especially when you have all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I completely agree.
No, I like it. I can't disagree with any. I can't disagree with any of that. Well, fuck. I mean, I don't know. You guys are on 2 different spectrums. Like, as far as pixels go, I mean, the kind of players that you run with Umbrella, like you said, most of them, or at least a good amount of them, are best in slot. Mostly everything, I'd imagine. The ones that have been there a while. Whereas for you, AC, the world is your oyster as far as loot goes.
Oh yeah, I can still replace pretty much everything I'm wearing, but like, you know, Umbrella was saying, it's all about the connections you make. So for us, it's just hanging out with friends and enjoying the journey up there, because we know eventually, because I did that on live, you know, you get up to the very end, you get all your pixels, and then it's like, what do you do now? And I know there's a few characters out there. I was talking to Super Bits and Bob, and he mentioned that he was really looking forward to level 60 because that's when his character opens up. But not everybody feels the exact same. I think with the cleric, your character pretty much dies at 60. You know, what do you do past that point other than the dungeon, the dragons, and all the best in slot stuff? So,
Dude, you just spam click your hotkey. Are you kidding me? It's the most fun I've ever had in a video game.
yeah, to a certain point, but then after that, you get kind of tired of that too. Like you want something different. So, we've been checking out all the zones along the way. You know, Catch Keep, which has nobody in it ever, is definitely fun to go over there and check out those. But yeah,
It depends on what kind of cleric you want to be, though. I mean, if you want to be, you know, if you think that the height of being a cleric is just sitting in a formation in a raid and just like pushing complete heal over and over, then you're probably going to burn out. If you want to take on more responsibility and try and like lead a group of clerics into keeping that rotation perfect, you know, and like coach them, that takes on a different dynamic, and it also changes you to make you a better player.
right. But
You
I
know,
mean,
so-
even that, you were saying people will get kind of tired of that because they're carrying all the other players that aren't really pulling their weight.
To some extent. I mean, hopefully those deadweight players aren't the clerics.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
I guess, you know, I've always said that, like, if you have dead weight in your guild, it's a symptom of bad management or bad leadership. Like, you're not incentivizing the people, everybody in the right way, which I was never able to incentivize everybody to be a top player. I don't know if Detox has. I don't know if Breakin has or Hoku has. I think there's always been kind of like this like sediment that is just sunk to the bottom in terms of some players. But I think that's where like better guild management comes into play. Like, you know, some guild leaders have a higher participation rate from their members.
Is that what you mean by the settlement, like lowering down? Is just they don't show up to the raids or not contributing?
They just don't
weekly
contribute.
basis?
I would rather have a player that just like doesn't even show up to a raid than a player that comes and just fucks the raid up by not being prepared or not knowing what they're doing or asking the wrong questions at the wrong time. You know, asking for buffs when the mob is almost in camp in Vent or TeamSpeak is not the right time. Like, you're a distraction.
No, that makes sense. But you guys at the higher end raids, they at least teach you, or is this kind of like you need to know this before you even get up to that point?
I mean, I think like there's that learning curve throughout your whole experience, right? From level 1 to level 60, you should know the basics by the time you hit level 60. And then your first few raids, you start to learn the ropes. You know, every guild I've been in or that I've seen, and I've had a character tagged in every guild, every high-end raiding guild for the past like 4 years almost, you know, has these wonderfully written, this is what we do, this is how you manage this encounter, this is what's expected of you, these are the items you should have on hand and charged at all times, and this is what your resist should be, and this is what you do, you know, you do X when Y occurs at the raid, you know, but people don't take the time. People spend hours writing these to post them up for the benefit of everyone who joins the guild, but so few people actually read these how-to guides of raiding.
Right. So they're not ready for the step up in commitment, is what you're saying.
True, and I think the raid scene also burns people out. Like, there's the tracking element to the game where, you know, you have to kind of like sit and stare at your screen for X amount of hours, you know, and that burns people out.
You know, that's at lower end too. It's not uncommon for you to, especially for like your epic bosses, you got to sit there and wait, you know, a day, a week, longer sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, EverQuest is a grind, and there's just a lot of different aspects surrounding it that make it more of a grind. Like, grinding out XP is one pain in the ass thing you got to do, and then it's like, all right, now I hit level 60 and I got to raid. Well, it depends on how dedicated a raider you want to be, right? Some people feel that they're expected to wake up at 3:30 in the morning on a Tuesday when they have to be at work at 6 or 7 because a mob spawns and their cell phone goes off, and then their girlfriend or their wife is flipping out because the phone is ringing at 3 o'clock in the morning for them to get on the computer.
Right.
You know, like, it's not feasible for some, and some people, even worse, try to make, I don't know if it's worse, but some people like try to make that a part of their life too. And it creates burnout. You know, some people just can't do it.
Yeah. But there's a little bit of every type of guild on the server, so I think no matter what type of player you are, from casual to hardcore, you can find something.
Absolutely.
I think what you're saying is you just got to realize what type of player you are and don't push yourself into something you're not.
That's true. Like, I think people think there's the progression of you do level 1 through 60 and then you have to join a high-end rating guild, and that's so untrue. Like, you can just casually level. You can start all over from the beginning. You can just level with friends. You can just be like, you like to camp certain mobs. You could be an EC fat cat. You don't have to be a raider. And if you are a raider, you don't have to be 110% raid attendance raider.
What was the hardest raid you ever had to go to? Like, out of all the zones out there, you have like a favorite one that you tend to kind of go towards if you can, or just like one that you really don't like going towards at all?
I don't know. I always hated doing Vox because it was so fucking far out there. I don't know. I don't know what mobs, what encounter I really hated.
I don't
the most.
know
I'd
if
have to think
running
about
to
it.
permafrost counts as a good enough reason to hate a raid.
Well, because like I would leave one character there, and then somebody would end up logging on that fucking character, so I'd have to run another tune out. There's one I fucking hated. Maybe Faded R. Also a pain in the. I don't know. To be honest, at the end I hated all of them.
You fucking you mentioned incentivizing members to do things. What kind of incentives?
See, I think like if I knew the answer to that, then I would have kind of been the exception to the rule. I mean,
well, you're not going to get everybody. Like,
no, you're not. Different people are motivated by different factors, right?
Yes.
And so you could throw pixels at some people. You could throw plat at other people. You can give DKP bonuses. You could promote people within the guild or just give them a shout out on the forum. Like, different people respond better to different incentives. So I don't know. I think what worked the worst was promoting people. Like, if somebody, not what worked the best, but I think the worst thing I ever did, and I made this mistake multiple times, is I took a really good member who gave it 110%, who really went all out, really cared about the guild, and they did all this shit. Like, they would do guild recharges for free. They would camp shit just to sell it, to give the money to the guild bank. And then I'd say, or the officers would come around and say, you're such a great player. You're such an asset to the guild. We should make you an officer. Please be an officer. And then that takes all the shit that this person used to do just for fun, and now makes it kind of like an expectation. Oh, he's an officer. He should be doing this. Then that person never logs in again. You took all the shit they did just because they enjoyed doing it, and then made it like a requirement, a job position, and then they were gone. So the best way to lose a good player was to promote them, I always found.
I like it. I've had a couple people in chat mention that they are in some of these AA guilds, and they have spent 0 minutes of their life tracking mobs, saying that it's not a mandatory thing that you have to do just for being in one of those guilds. And I'd also say, like, for people who don't raid or haven't raided ever and know nothing about it but want to, it's not impossible. Yeah, like Unbrella said, most guilds supply shit that you can look up and read and be like, oh, cool, this is how this thing works. Oh, that's a thing, A+. But also the best thing you can do is just shut up and listen and pay attention. Like, people give calls and commands and tell people what to do and when to do it. And really just listening, you'll learn a shit ton. Like, anyone can raid on the server. Well, that's not true. Anyone who's willing to do what the raid scene is doing can raid on this server. But not knowing the zones or the polls or how to do a CH chain or any of those things, like not knowing what items you need, like you can learn all of that very easily. And if you want to raid, you should just apply to a guild that you think you'd fit into and go for it. Make some friends, find out where these nerds hunt, and try to get in groups with them. Get some people that will say, yeah, you know what? I know that guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, the interesting thing about P99 is your reputation on the server is everything, and people have an interesting way of finding out, like, if you ruin your reputation on one character, and even if you start another one, people end up finding out who you are. The server is so social and such a tight-knit community, whether that's for better or worse.
It's a double-edged sword, really.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, it's good. It's good for the people that are in it, but it is hard to become a part of it sometimes. I've seen entire guilds like shunned away and end up leaving the server because of it. It also, like, even people that play here for a super long time, if they're casual, only logging in once in a while, once a week, twice a week, a couple days, if they're not fucking crazy neckbeards, they really have no idea what's going on. It's like a whole different layer to P99 that they're just unaware of existing.
That's kind of cool, though. Like, what other video game can really bring in like an entire environment that the player base is actually creating? You think of all the other MMOs out there, and very few of them the community makes a big deal. It's all solo action, kind of just doing your own thing, and occasionally running into somebody. On this one, I mean, you can't even get your quartz back in some zones without going to somebody else and asking them, "Hey, can you spare some time? I'll pay you some of my quartz out."
Well, that's why the good Lord made Necros.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it brings the community together. Even if you are, like you're saying, one of these guys that only log in once a week, every, Sunday or Saturday or something like that when you got time, you're still part of the community, at least in a little way. But yeah, I think you are missing out on at least the raid stuff that's going on the top. You don't really get to hear that unless you watch your show, which is where I get to hear all my information from, because, I'm still very far away from that day. But it's really interesting to hear it from somebody who's gone there and done years worth of rating, all the little details that you have used over the years to kind of, like, that falling being faster than Spirit of Wolf. Like, who thought of that? That's crazy.
And
Is that...
that's just like those are just a couple instances of mechanics being manipulated in just brilliant ways.
Was that something that you guys inherited, or is that something that you were there when somebody figured that out?
I mean, just going back, I've been on the server for so long. I was probably there when it was originally figured out, or when it was mainstream popularized. Like, I don't think the original intent of a Crown of Ryle going back on original was so that you could FTE foot race, spam yourself with Invigorate, and never be able to run out of stamina while jumping, because jumping gives you just a slight speed advantage. And then some fucking retard GM banned it, but as a legitimate mechanic. But I digress.
Ban is such a harsh word. We just disallowed it for the time being. I feel that's
motherfucker. Every time you guys say "for the time being," it's pretty much etched in stone.
It's for the time being, Umbrella.
Whatever.
We're looking at how things are without it, and we're evaluating the data.
Now that the BDA peasants that don't have Crowns of Ryle are off the server, go back to making it a legit tactic, because now the people that actually matter have them.
Are you saying Blackheart Pirates don't matter?
They're not competing against Awaken and Aftermath.
All right, well, there are guilds like CSG and others in TOV on the line.
What? Listen.
CSG, Europa, and Azorgard, and Omni have been on the line in TOV.
Yeah, but they also have access to get Crowns of Ryle. Isn't there a rotation of VP right now?
They have probably 4.5 VP keys between them all.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The thing is that they're on a rotation and they have access to it. It's not like BDA, who is just actively being locked out of it.
No one's being actively locked out of it, because no one cares about keeping tracking on lockdown anymore.
But that's also the thing, is you take P99, you say, hey, it has all these, take original EverQuest, say, hey, it has all these mechanics that you can use and you can be creative. But what we're going to do is we're going to restrict it. We're going to restrict it all because some players are able to do it and other players aren't, which isn't true.
Well, no, it's because you guys have already established that we can't have nice things, And so it's my job to take those nice things away from you all when you find a new one.
It's your job to incentivize people to find better, more legitimate ways, not to restrict what they already have. It's like trickle-down leadership. Like, my job as a guild leader was incentivize people to keep logging on. Yours is to manage people so that they continue to have, like, a healthy raid scene. Not by taking away all their fucking toys.
I took away, like, one toy.
You've
One
taken
toy.
away many.
One toy. And it's because it just makes everything so fucked up. So fucked up when I'm looking at fraps to find out who's doing things.
One day I will sit down and I'll explain fucking P99 mechanics to you. I'll give you a
so
how-to.
much. Oh, I hope you die in a fire sometimes. Not just an easy fire, like a grease fire, something that's real hard to put out.
That's rude.
Is it? Oh man! Speaking of Asgard, I have one of them on my stream right now. I don't know why people keep saying happy birthday to me. I don't know like how that started or when exactly that started. It just became a thing, and I started noticing it on YouTube comments, and now I'm noticing it here, and I don't understand how or when that happened.
I think ZK started that one, actually, to be honest. I hate to call him out, but
What did he do?
ZK's the man.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know. It was your birthday. You did that live stream on your birthday, and ever since then, he's kind of been trolling you a little bit with it.
That was a mess.
That was a good live stream. You didn't save it, but anybody who watched that one.
Oh, it's saved. It's just hidden. It's hidden away in like the shameful Sirken vault of shame.
Sirken, if you could put together a Mount Rushmore of P99 players, like a P99 Mount Rushmore, who would be on it?
There was a thread about this not long ago, and it made me smile because I know like we had that conversation like fucking a year or 2 years ago.
I got a screenshot of it. Hold on, I'll tell you the date. It's more recent.
Fucking no, I mean originally, like the first time we talked about it, not when you were like, "There's a thread about it."
Nope. Hold on. I will tell you. Date and time.
Well, while you're looking, I'll tell you. It's probably dated. My Mount Rushmore is dated, but I feel it's fair because it includes all people that are no longer active here.
May 25th of this year.
That's bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
I didn't even know you in May.
May of what year, motherfucker? I've known you since like 2012.
Huh.
2013?
I don't know. I feel like we had this conversation like years ago. Like
5:25 at 9:47 a.m. If
Whatever.
you had to place
Look.
4 players' heads on the on the EQ Mount Rushmore, whose 4 would they be? And you responded, fucking hour and 10 minutes later. You're so rude.
Well, clearly I took your question very seriously, and I took that hour and change to really, really, put some deep
Really
thought
mull it
into
over.
it. Yeah. So yeah, I'll tell you, I don't remember the order. Is there an order? Fuck the order. I'm gonna go Zealot. I'm gonna go Hokushin. I'm gonna go Umbrella, and I'm gonna go Chest. As
Oh
the
yeah,
four
you hear
faces.
that detox? You fucking hear that detox?
Well, I'm picking 4 inactive players. But yeah, those are my.
Yeah, he's mad right now.
Those are the 4 people on the Mount Rushmore because I feel those 4 people have all in one way or another like left a memorable mark on P99. And then other current active guild leaders, they're still in the middle of their career. They might leave a mark when they're done. But you can't put someone in the Hall of Fame before they retire. That's shenanigans.
That's true.
I mean, anyone who knows anything about sports knows that. I mean, Brett Favre would have been Hall of Famed like 3 different times if that's how he did things.
Only the wicked live long enough to see their likeness in stone.
Is that how that works?
That's what they say.
Oh, all right. A plus. What about you? What about you, Umbrella?
What?
Mount Rushmore.
What about me? Who would be on my... I don't know. It'd probably just be me and Hoku.
Just two of you, or
It'd probably just be me.
Would you?
Me and Shinko. I don't know. I think... Who would I put on there? I'd probably put Z-Lot. If I can't pick myself.
You can pick yourself if you want to.
All right, well, obviously, because there's no Mount Rushmore without me. So I'd pick myself. I'd pick Z-Lot. I would pick Chest. And I would pick Sloan.
I like how you wasted no time in putting yourself on the mountain.
No, and the reason I say just those is because I think Sloan pulled together the idea realistically of bringing competition back to the server. Z-Lot had done an incredible job of putting the server on lockdown and keeping it that way. Chest is Chest.
Uh-huh.
He shook up the server in a way that it's never been before, and maintains rotations until he decided to break them. But anyway, that's not a story. Uh-huh. And then myself, just for all the good that I've done for the server.
Naturally.
Yeah.
All the good. AC, if you were building a Mount Rushmore, do you have 4 faces you'd put on there?
No, not yet. I don't know any of these people you're talking about. All beyond my level at the moment. One day.
They're all with God now. They're all out of rehab. They all got clean. They're doing great. Their lives turned around. They're making money.
No, Spanky, you're not getting any loots tonight. People are just
but if there was like a Mount
themselves.
Rushmore of like doers, I would put of like people that really put their fucking all into it. I'd say Detox would probably make that list. Alpha is probably one of the top fucking F tiers of all time. Knockin' for sure. And then who else?
Alpha called you out.
Probably Snackies.
Do you know anything about the up and coming crowd of FTEers? Are there any young whippersnappers on the rise that need to have eyes kept on them for their soon fame?
I don't know.
Not so in touch with the new generation. Keeping it old school, keeping it classic.
Oh, Necrius. Never mind. I'm sorry. I fucking strike somebody off that list. I don't care who. But Necrius goes on there. I'd probably kick Alpha on the list for Necrius.
I see. Oh yeah, we just got goddamned. Or how dared, rather.
Yeah. I can't believe I didn't mention Necrius. He's probably, I mean, if there was a fucking Mount Rushmore of just one player, it would be him.
That doesn't seem fair.
No. You gotta think, like, that motherfucker has never spoken once in TeamSpeak. I've never heard him in years. I've never fucking heard him.
Maybe he just doesn't like you.
And he's like by far the best player.
The best player, and you didn't even put him on your mountain.
He is the mountain.
He is the mountain.
He's the foundation all the faces are carved into.
Wow, that's, if I understand the metaphor for this whole thing correctly, that's big. That's big.
Dare you disrespect God, Necrius. Real big.
People took serious offense to Necrius not being named for the Mount Rushmore. I feel bad. I didn't even think about him. But it's really just because I guess I was really only thinking guild leaders at the time. I think sometimes non-leaders get shafted. But it works both ways, because leaders usually get the blame when something bad happens too, regardless of which member does it. I mean, if aftermath people do something wrong, then detox is going to be called a piece of shit for it. If awakened people do something wrong, break-in's going to get called a piece of shit for it.
Well, they're both pieces of shit. Like, they both look. And at one point, I made the raid scene fucking terrible too.
Wow.
Like, that's just what it is. When you're in a position, when you're in that position, like, you just are part of making the raid scene shit.
I mean, but you don't have to. You can look around and be like, we could do this to give us an advantage, but it's gonna make the raid scene shittier if we do, so maybe we shouldn't.
Dude, the thing is like, if you're a guild leader, you have one job, and that's to protect the interests of your guild, even when you're fucking wrong.
Uh-huh.
Like, because, like, no, I can't put it any better than that. Like, even if you are wrong, you have to protect the interests of your members, because at the end of the day, those are the people you have to answer to. And
but
it's
you
their
can't be
happiness.
willing to die over every battle. You got to think long term. You got to win the war.
You're absolutely right, but a lot of that becomes difficult when you have disengaged staff, and I'm not trying to drag you into it or other staff, but if staff, no, this isn't you specifically. From what I understand, you have help these days.
Let me tell you something. People say things like, "No, I'm not naming you specifically," but I can read between the lines here.
Motherfucker, you know me well enough. If I was naming you specifically, I'd call you out right here in front of all these people.
All right, go ahead.
The point is if staff, I know it's a pain in the ass because you have so many other players, and the rating base makes up such a small but vocal minority.
Yes.
And requires probably the most time by far than any other single request. But the problem is, a lot of these problems that come up in petitions, they're not dealt with fast enough. And that's not just because we want a suspension for that person, we want a suspension for that person. It's because rules are constantly being formed, because that's the system you got that is in place, right? It's rules on top of rules. And if something slides under the radar this time, someone else gets caught on it the next time. And there's no, like, active defining and redefining of the rules as they go. And it's a pain in the ass. Like, sometimes, to give you, for instance, like, say a guild should have been suspended for something egregious that they did. Say they trained the fuck out of an entire zone just a week ago, right? Now they're supposed to eat a 2-week suspension, but then they get a fucking full cycle, then they get a Thanksgiving Day repop. But yet another guild ate a suspension for something they really didn't even do wrong. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it goes back and forth.
Right. Super hypothetical situation.
Super hypothetical situation.
Uh-huh.
But it's a pain in the ass. Like, shit doesn't get dealt with fast enough.
I will absolutely give
And
you that
it's
shit's not going fast enough.
And a lot of times it's inconsistent.
I feel it's super consistent.
It is. You can't say that with a straight face.
I mean, you can't see my face, but if you could see it, you'd see it was super straight.
I would slap it.
Super straight. No, you wouldn't. I would
it.
attack you with all 300 pounds of my nerdness.
I lift, dude.
I don't give a shit. I eat.
Gross.
I bet I can eat more than you can lift.
I do think, in terms of the Petition quest, things have calmed down an incredible amount from where it used to be between Detox and Hoku, or even at times being Hoku to where it is now with, like, Breaking and Detox.
It's calmed down.
I think they've calmed down a lot.
It's calmed down from where it was, even with Detox and Breaking.
I think Detox is, like, become more level-headed.
I think they both have. I think there was definitely some issues with them kind of feeling each other out and learning how to deal with each other. Takes time.
Probably.
I mean, you and Hoku didn't get along fantastically at first. You guys were assholes to deal with too.
The thing that was funny about that is, like, he and I would go out for a beer, squash all the beef, and then, like, a week later, we'd be fucking yelling at each other again over Skype.
I mean, that's how it goes, though. And then you go out for more beers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Had beers with him yesterday. He
That's
happened to be
good.
in town. He's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, grabbing a beer with you.
Did you tell him he's on your Mount Rushmore?
No, I told him he was on Mount Rushmore. And then he was like, I'm going to go home and I'm going to put up a poll. And he didn't put up a poll.
Like something you vote on, or like an actual like pole in the yard that you put a flag on?
Yes, a poll out in the yard that you put a flag on.
He's not on P99 anymore. For all I know, he's disconnected from the internet and living in a fucking village and making
fucking
flags.
Retard.
Oh, I'm standing by my poll statement. I feel it was a fair assumption to make.
I hope you're learning something from all this, AC.
He's learning to never be
yeah.
in the raid scene.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. No, it sounds like a lot of work, and I don't know if I have the dedication to put in that much time, but I'm glad there is somebody doing it, because it at least allows me to see the items and links of the crazy stuff you guys are getting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know which guilds. I don't know if all three of the big guilds do it, but I know, like, it's not like mandatory that all the guilds have a you must have this super high raid percentage or we'll kick you out kind of rule. So if you can
Russell, you could literally have 0% raid attendance for rolling 90 days if you have one single point of DKP and still win an item.
How?
It's fucking Russell. It's the best loot system there is. It's the best guild on the server by far.
Really?
We're so hardcore casual, most people can't keep up.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I mean, I've just never been part of something. I've never been part of something greater.
It's a bold statement, sir.
It's the truth.
I mean, again, that's a pretty bold statement. I feel like Forceful Entry did some big things.
Yeah, I mean, Forceful Entry did big things back in its day, but I mean, look, where is it now? I mean, Russell's the up and comer, the new kid on the block. Like, I mean, we're so fucking casual that even the hardcore guilds kowtow to us. Like, we still get loot. We just got a fucking Vulok. Well, we would have if we didn't get cheated out of it. But the point is, we had it by doing nothing.
By doing nothing? I mean, I feel like you still have to do things to get Vulok. It's not just given to you.
What?
Vulok's not just given to you. You still have to do things to get it.
Oh, you just gotta kill it.
I mean, you still gotta get down there. You gotta engage it. It's not like there's no other.
That's all you gotta do.
Trying.
You just gotta tag it. You just gotta get the FT, or you can wait for a GM to show up and just award it to you.
Does that happen?
From what I understand, I mean, I don't know. It
has happened. I know. I don't think it has happened. I think a GM came, heard the situation, and said, "Okay, based on what I'm hearing, it belongs to so and so."
God, worst GMs.
If I recall correctly, people were
Listen.
What?
Put me on staff. I'm ready for the bench.
Oh my god.
I'll make P99 great again.
All right, you know what?
Fair and balanced. No one gets away with shit.
I will sit down with Rogan and we will have a super serious discussion about your guide application.
I just need like 35K a year.
Like 35K
Doritos.
Bloomin' Onions, or what are we talking?
No, dude, just enough for fucking Doritos and Mountain Dew.
That's a lot of Doritos and Mountain Dew.
I gotta look the part, right?
I mean, you lift, so you're not gonna be able to look the part. You can't just have this body that I have in a weekend of Doritos and Mountain Dew. This is a lifelong commitment to food. So, AC.
Yeah, what's up?
Sorry about all that. Went on a bit of a rant. Fucking. So, as someone who is not part of the raid scene, really, I don't know, hearing this kind of shit, like, jokes aside, does it scare you away, or are you like, that's those people's experiences? Like, what does your brain go and do when it hears those things?
No, it just it really makes you want to be prepared when you do make that final plunge. You got to know what you're getting into. But I'm actually more curious as to figure out what's the solution, because Umbrella's talking about how you're nerfing certain aspects of the game, and you're talking about how you have to nerf that to keep the community healthy and alive and fix some of the issues that people are creating. Seems like both sides are trying to do the right thing, but going about it two different ways. Is there, for like on your side, Umbrella, is there a way that you can, like, what's the solution to get rid of some of the rules that they've put in that would be acceptable to the other side of trying to keep some of the new players coming in to have an actual, chance of getting in there, even if they want to put the time in?
I don't think there's a barrier to entry for new players. No guild has ever really just said, "Oh, sorry, we're full on paladins. You can't join us."
But you got to join that. You got to join that guild, though, right? Like
you do
can't
have
just
to
come in
join.
with a guild.
Correct. Now, that's not to say that a guild can't come about and challenge the big dogs on top, because that has happened. Like, Taken was doing it for a while and was relatively successful. BDA tried. Well, they failed at everything, but BDA tried it early on. FE was able to do it early on against TMO. So guilds have been able to come from nothing and challenge some of the big dogs in the past. I don't think it's impossible for a guild as an entity to do it, to break into the raid scene. I also don't think that it's impossible for any single player to do. It's easier for any individual player to do it. But it's really about how serious you want to be. I'm sure a lot of guilds go out there thinking, hey, we're going to be raiding in no time, and then they find out it takes a lot more work.
But just on the specifics as far as like first to engage, that didn't always used to be the rule, right? It used to be something very different, and then they changed it.
FTE has always really been, for as long as I remember, has been the gold standard of whose mob is it, even before there were FTE shouts.
People didn't used to sit on the spawn spot. That's what happened.
That's true.
People would still throw a jab or do whatever, and then whoever engaged it, that would be respected. And when people started sitting on spawn spots, that became a problem because nobody knew who had the FTE at that point. And so then that forced Rogan, I believe, to make FTE messages. And also because of like what Umbrella was saying earlier, we started telling them they couldn't be on the spawn spot, but then every single raid encounter would end with a petition to see who the hell had FTE, because nobody knew, and people would end up like you'd have forceful entry think they have FTE on Trackanon, but it's really you from Blackheart Pirates, and then forceful entry ends up killing Trackanon for you.
So is it just guilds behaving better and realizing that there are certain flaws that you can't exploit in the game? Otherwise, the GMs do have to step in and say, we have to nerf you a little bit so that you guys don't do this.
This is the reality of it. It has nothing to do with the rule set. It has to do with the mutual respect that the two guild leaders at the top, or the three guild leaders at the top, have for one another. If they don't have a mutual respect for each other, no set of rules is going to help them play nice. Because the thing is both guilds are inherently always going to push the line of what they can get away with. It's each guild leader's responsibility to have that understanding in mind and be able to work through their own problems civilly in the best interests of their members. Sometimes you have to lose some battles, and other times you'll win some of the battles. But at the end of the day, relatively, you'll break even if both guild leaders respect one another. And I don't think that the server is to that point yet. I hope it's getting there, but I think that that's the real problem. It's not the rules. I think the rules restrict the creativity of the game and the mechanics and what the game can be. But I don't think it's a matter of, well, if you implement this rule or subtract this rule, all these problems will evaporate. It's definitely the two people at the top have to respect their position, first off, and they have to respect the position of the other as well.
So it's a mindset more than anything else.
Absolutely, it's a mindset. The whole server is a mindset.
I would agree on that one. The server, as far as the low-level stuff goes, is by far the kindest and most generous server I have found on any game. besides just emulators, even brand new ones out there. So that definitely makes it an environment that people want to come in and play on. How do you regulate somebody's mindset? That's just something they're going to have to figure out on their own. And in the meantime, it sounds like the GMs have to babysit them.
And I think that's going to be one of the things that plays into the evolution of the server. Is sometimes some of the guild there have been instances on the server where some guild leaders or people in the position of authority in a guild have not been able to get along with other people or with the GMs, and they've been cut out. Like the GMs just won't talk to them anymore, won't deal with them. They need another representative, and that's detrimental to the guild. So the GMs reserve that right. But
it's actually beneficial to the guild, because at that point, it's usually because that guild leader is acting like such a piece of shit that if the staff member continues talking to him, he's going to suspend him or his
It's
guild.
a matter of perspective. Like it's detrimental to the guild if you have a guild leader that the GMs won't talk to. You know what I mean? It might be beneficial to replace that person, but again, perspective.
You have to be a piece of shit for the GMs not to talk to you.
You got to push pretty far.
I mean, there are people that, like, it is publicly known I did not get along with, but we were still always able to have a guild leader GM relationship and talk to each other, and some mutual level of respect between the two of us to communicate. Even if every other time we would hate each other openly.
It seems kind of nuts that you guys can't even, talk it out. Definitely some high level tensions there.
Sometimes you can. It depends on how much is at stake, and like another thing is, how much another guild has quote unquote gotten away with in the eyes of the opposing guild. So if one guild feels that another has been harshly punished for injustices.
Yeah, but how far back does that go? Like that goes back to like real life where people are fighting over wars upon wars. It's just kind of that aside.
You're totally right. It depends on the mindset of guild leadership.
I never thought about that.
Some guild leaders are like bygones be bygones. Other guild leaders are like, they keep a written history of every slight against them.
See, that person you're never going to please, ever. Because, I mean, you would really have to do something severe to the other side to make up for every single one of those.
You are never going to please everyone on this server.
No.
Or in any game. Like
any group of people. Be it a guild, be it a community, be it whatever. That's not possible. That's what P99 taught me.
However, I do think that at the raid scene, people get put in a position to where they may not want to be the most reasonable. They may not want to respect the other person. But at the end of the day, for the top two, I think that Detox respects Breakin and the position that he holds. And I think that Breakin respects Detox and the position that he holds. Because they're both two very strong guilds. Both of those individual players hold an incredible amount of responsibility on their shoulders. They have a massive player base of some of the nerdiest motherfuckers on the server to answer to, people that are impossible to please. And it's obvious that they both do a good job because they both go back and forth week after week, contesting some of the top-end shit the server has to offer, and they make it work. Sometimes they create more of a headache than they need to, but more times than not, there are more weeks that go by that I don't have to hear about a petition than the opposite.
There's some players out there who are coming over from Red who like that conflict, of player versus player more than the actual raid scene.
I'm sorry?
Because the players over on Red, they are very much player versus player. You think there's people coming over from that server who are, enjoying the conflict between the guilds more than they're actually enjoying the raid scene itself?
No, I don't think anybody actually enjoys the conflict because you can't kill each other on Blue.
I do
know.
But you
if there
can
was
reap
actual
each other.
conflict where you could kill somebody, then I'm sure the people from Red would love it. And most of the bitching, like RNF is pretty tame these days, and average players and even some officers don't even see like the petitions that go in. So like a lot of players don't really see a lot of the drama that goes on like at the highest level.
They want you to bring red back. I don't know. What do you guys feel on the future of that server? Because every time I look, seems like the numbers go lower and lower, unfortunately.
I mean, I do know there are some red people that have started playing on blue recently. I don't think any of them are in raiding guilds at the moment. The population is what it is. Like we've tossed around ideas for different rule set PvP servers, be it Discord or Teams or something like that. But we're not going to like do some kind of drastic overhaul to the red server. We're not going to change it to a different rule set. We're not going to wipe it. We're not going to do anything like that.
You think it might get a reinvigoration when you guys do the next servers, the like starting back over from day one and eventually merging together with red and blue?
Yeah, I do.
That would be awesome.
I think so many people like classic EverQuest PvP. Like, the people who like EverQuest PvP, I would bet most of them probably like classic EverQuest PvP a lot. And so, yeah, I would expect that to be kind of a big deal. And then as people level up and as one guild rises to the top and puts its foot on everybody else's throat, I expect the population to slowly die off again.
Red is the most fun I had on P99 in years. By far.
I mean, you just joined the big Zerg guild, though.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Even when I was leveling, I didn't take my same name. I didn't take my name from Blue for clout. I didn't tell anybody who I was from Blue. I didn't ask for any handouts. I had a blast leveling up, having no idea who anybody fucking was. I mean, I had more fun. I kind of went to Red because I knew there wasn't competition, so that I could just raid on an actual schedule, get to experience Velius without the bullshit. But I love the phrase, like when other guilds would jump in and try and cockblock us or whatever, PvP matches. I liked it. I thought Red was a blast.
I don't know. I played on a PvP server on Live. That was my home, and I loved the hell out of it, but I just don't feel Red 99 is even a close representation of what my live server was like. And I
don't know. I transferred to Red with best in slot everything. I just bought the best droppable items possible.
I hate you so much. I hate everything you stand for.
I had like a T staff at level 1.
You literally are the worst human being. Fucking, I don't know. I think if Red 99 would have been a team server, I think it would have helped a lot. I think the fact that people could have started on the server not knowing anybody, but already had a group, team, faction, whatever, of people that could not attack them and they could not attack, and so by default it's kind of in everyone's interest to be good to everyone on your team. I think that would have helped. I think that would have helped foster a community. I think that would have helped bring about more of the EQ things that people love about EQ. And with the way it is now, where everyone can just kill everyone, it sucks not to come to the server with a group of people, and whoever has the biggest group of people is just automatically going to destroy everybody.
What do you mean by teams? Is it like straight down the line of races, or?
There's different ways to do it. Live had team servers. It also had deity-based servers. So, like, the gods were separated onto 3 teams, and based on what god you worship, you were thrown onto a team.
Hey, guys, I hate to do this to you, but I gotta run. Sirken, thanks for having me.
That's okay. We're almost done anyway. You have a good night, sir.
All right, thanks again. AC, good meeting you.
It's good meeting you too, man.
And good luck on P99.
Thank you, man.
All right, bye.
Yeah, but I mean, wouldn't that break it up into just 3 guilds instead of just 1, right? So there would be that competition?
You would have 3 big guilds, probably. Yeah, you'd have 1 main guild at the top of each faction. But Europa, Blackheart Pirates, and Azure Guard are all on faction 1, and Guild A is the big top dog guild of faction 1. All of a sudden, and again, this is a PvP server, so all of a sudden, instead of Guild A just going and wrecking those kids, they're more likely to kind of make sure guild or the other two factions don't come and steal the mob or what have you. Like there's just more of a chance of survival because not everybody can kill you. And
Right.
when you see someone that you know can't hurt you and you can't hurt them, so there's no temptation to double cross or betray them and take their shit, you're just more likely to be friendly with them.
Why not give that a chance when you guys do decide? I know it's like way far into the future, but if you guys ever do decide to create another red that would one day merge, why not try the team faction and see how it goes? I mean, worst case scenario, it ends up like red anyways.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've talked about it. It's just we've got other things that we're doing, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's like luxuries or wants versus needs, I guess.
Right,
And
but I mean,
so
it's just as like theories go in your mind. It's like it's something that you might consider in the future.
we've talked about it as a staff. We've definitely tossed around the idea of opening a different second PvP server and what the rule set would be on that server. And I'll tell you right now, like if we ever have any kind of vote, I'm absolutely 100%. I'd vote teams. I would vote teams over Discord. I'd vote racial teams over deity teams, and I would soapbox to the rest of the staff 24/7, all day, all night, weekends, holidays, rain, snow, sleet, shine, football games, the whole thing. I'd skip it all and just soapbox for racial teams PvP server.
I mean, you make it sound pretty appealing. I never played on the PvP servers back in the day. I did play on Red for a little while, and just seeing the route that it took and taking that giant nosedive. They used to have quite a bit of population on there, and it just seems like overnight it went down to almost nothing. Like you really can't do any worse than that. So, give anything else a shot. Really is better than going down that route again.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad what happened to the red server because like it could have been good, but there was just so much fuckery almost right out the gates, and it really didn't have a fair chance. And every time something good would happen, it was usually followed by something really bad, and the poor thing just couldn't catch a fucking break, no matter how hard it tried. And
Was
then sorry, and then once the fucking inmates start running the asylum, it kind of runs all the good people off the server, and so you have people who are like, not everyone's bad. Some people are like, oh, I'll just deal with it. It doesn't get to me. But most people, I mean, everyone claims they have thick skin, but most people really don't. And they might hide it, they might not show it. Some people do show it, but the shit bothers them and it gets to them, so they leave. And then when a shit ton of the community is just the assholes that ran everybody else off, you try getting staff over there, and it's constantly I don't want to say abusive behavior, but just constant like just bashing the shit out of staff, and I mean that in so many more ways than just like insulting or talking shit to, but just making the staff's life more difficult as a whole. And so it becomes super hard to get staff to want to keep volunteering on that server, and some staff members have quit over that server. And so that
is
doesn't help when that becomes an issue.
Isn't that just the mentality of the server though? Like don't people go to Red because they know it's PvP and like almost anything goes, and like trolling people is something that you can do over there and it's allowed. So wouldn't you just get
I mean,
a
trolling
sort of
people
people?
is allowed on blue too, but I mean,
Mm,
go
to
spend
some
an.
extent.
Here's what you do: hop on Red, turn on your stream, AFK for an hour, and tell me if the OOC didn't catch you a suspension on Twitch.
No, I think think I'll miss on that one, but I bet you're right. Actually, to be honest, I always had OOC turned off,
I
which
mean,
is probably
that's probably for the better, actually. It's probably better that that's the thing.
yeah. But I mean, you had World OOC in that one, right? Not just Zone Wide.
I'm against worldwide OOC. Yeah, it's in, but I hate it. I'm against it. I would also soapbox that never be a thing.
Yeah, that's definitely not classic. And if it's worldwide, I mean, really, you can communicate with people you're not technically supposed to, and get help from other guilds and things of that sort without just sending them a direct message. So that could help you out, I think, in a long.
And if
But
you're
would
gonna
you
talk
allow
shit,
that?
you gotta be in the zone to talk it.
Yeah,
You can't hide in a safe, far away place and run your mouth.
everybody has to listen to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can always put someone on ignore, which people forget is a feature. But they have to be there. Like, if you're in a zone talking shit to me, I'm going to look for you. I'm going to find you, and we're going to fight.
Yeah,
But if I'm in, Ceballos and you're in goddamn Kira Island, like, I'm not going to go out there. But I shouldn't have to listen to your bullshit if you're in Kira Island.
hmm
That's how that works, too.
yeah. I don't think I like that either. The fact it's worldwide. I mean, it's a cool little feature they threw into like EverQuest 2 and EverQuest Live. I don't think it works in Classic. I don't think it really has a place either. But that was something you guys decided that could use. And did it help out for a little while? Did it seem to, cover what you guys put it in there for?
I think so. I'd say yes. I'd absolutely say yes, it did.
So, I mean, it wasn't a bad decision. It's just 2020 hindsight looking back on it, seeing
Looking,
all the comments in the chat channel right there.
it was good for helping people find groups. It was good for helping people buying and selling items and spells. It was good for guild recruitment, but there's always people who see a way to abuse something and just cannot help themselves, and so they just fucking ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah. But it seems like that would be the place I would go if I was going to be that type of person. A place where you're kind of amongst your own, unless I'm trying to talk bad about Red, but like you're going there to kill other players. Like that's your ultimate goal.
I
So I think
mean,
it kind of
it should
attracts that.
be. It should be, but for a lot of people, it's not. Especially
Really, like,
now. Like, when we had the class system in place, guilds in Class R, which were basically set up a player enforced rotation, they were getting shots at mobs like every 10 to 12 weeks. And that sucks. And so they would make a red character because the big red guild was like, hey, we're Zerg recruiting, so just come over, we'll give you a bunch of shit, we'll help you level, it'll be good. And a lot of blue players started migrating to red because they could raid, and they could raid every week. And this guild was so much bigger than everybody else, there was rarely, if ever, any competition for anything. So they didn't have to worry about PvP, and it was basically like Blue Server, but with different people. And so
but
people did that.
was there any challenge? Like what you're saying is there's just one giant massive guild.
I
When
mean,
you attack a mob,
once in a while, you'd get some people that would try to dump some mobs on you, or maybe contest a target. But usually, like the number 2 or 3 guild, they're going to contest something the number 1 guild isn't contesting. So if guild 1 is in Temple of Vishon, guild 2 might go to Vishon's Peak, and guild 3 might go to Fear.
I'm just saying, as far as like the challenge of the mob goes, because you're coming from blue, one of the things you probably enjoy is the challenge of, can we take that mob out? Because you're not, I mean, if you're not there for any other reason other than to try out some of those mobs that you don't get to try on the other server, then getting that loot probably isn't going to be your main concern, because you're like, what are you going to do with it once you get it? You're not really playing hardcore on that server anyways.
I feel like those people's... maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like those... I'm yawning, fuck. Sorry. Those people's main concern might actually be loot. Because the only other thing it can be is just the experience of killing something every week. Otherwise, they would kill it the once, be like, I got the experience of killing this mob. It was fun, it was challenging, I feel satisfied and rewarded. And then they'd go back. But they
So you're
didn't.
saying like once they go there, they get hooked on it a little bit.
They want pixels.
Yeah.
It's all about pixels. Pixels are like fucking smack to these kids, and they need it.
But that's good. It keeps the the population going. So if you guys could somehow foster a little bit more of an even dispersion of the guilds at the top end, then yeah, I think that would be like a big boon for Red. But would you guys allow people to switch over from one faction to another? Would there be a quest or something along those lines that people could do that, or are you just like no, straight up and down?
You mean like on a Teams PvP server?
Right, because if you're just going to do it based off of race or gods, wouldn't eventually one of those factions pretty much take over, and then everybody just make a character on that faction?
Yes, people will do that. They shouldn't. We probably won't. There probably won't be a way to switch teams, but I don't know. I mean, that's something I don't think we've ever talked about, so I could be super wrong. I don't know how, like, Nilbog or Rogan or anyone else feels about that, and my opinion really is not the deciding opinion on things. I don't
Could
know.
there be a
I'd like to see a way to cap a team. So once it has X amount of players, new players can't join that team.
see that makes sense?
Like, that's what I would like to see. Because then it keeps the team, it keeps people filling into the team so none of the three just die.
Yeah, I mean, I could still see it being exploited in some ways. People,
Well, always.
if it was like I was gonna say like one in every three characters created, they just go on there and create a whole bunch of characters until they got, the one that they're looking for can finally be made. But it would have to be something a little bit more extensive, right? Like once you got up to level 5, I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of spitballing on like the different ideas that you could do with that. But I think you could make it work. And if Red could stay alive and be, a thing, it sounds like a lot of people really love playing it. So you got the love there. You got the people who want to go back to it. But there's something driving them away. And I think, like you said, it's just that one guild kind of taking over the whole thing.
Yeah, I feel like we learned a lot from Red 99, and we're still learning things from it. And I feel like if we do open a PvP server again, we there's a lot of things that we won't do the same, and there's a lot of things that we would like to try that we didn't get to try, and like I feel like it would be a better experience for everybody, players, old and new, staff, everybody.
Yeah. But you guys were also talking about Discord, King of the Hill type thing.
That would just be fun. I mean, oh my god, people are gonna lose their minds. If that's a thing, damn well somebody's gonna get up to like level 35 and get killed over something stupid. And we're just gonna be like, yeah, sorry, you're done.
Is it just death in general, or is it only death from another player that you lose everything?
I'm pretty sure it's death in general, but we could make it PvP only.
I think that would give people a little bit more opportunity to make some stupid mistakes,
still,
but
it's still gonna happen. Someone will be fighting a mob, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm right about to ding," and this rogue's gonna come up and backstab you for 1 billion points, and you're gonna die, and that's gonna be it.
Yep.
And
I mean, it's super hardcore.
Or
but when you go into it, right?
Oh yeah, you know what you're signing up for, but that doesn't stop people from bitching at all. Like in any aspect of life.
Well, at least you can kind of ignore it a little bit. Like if you know what you're getting into, and that's the whole point, is like it's just going to be fun. You go in there, and some people take things a little bit too serious, but I mean, you're going to go in there just to lose.
People get really mad when you ignore them, though. That's something else that I've learned from being on P99. They get really mad when you ignore them.
But is it really ignoring them when you say, we heard what you're saying, not much we can do about it because you were warned about it? I mean, is that still...
I mean, it's not ignoring, because I read the petition and I take a picture of it and then show it to the rest of the staff and then giggle. But, I mean, they're not getting a response or the response that they would like. So I could see people twisting that into ignoring. People like to twist things. people like to twist things so that they can retell their stories to their own benefit.
See, that's the thing about like the Discord server. That would just be enough stories for anybody, because there's going to be people who get on level 1, and that's the thing. Are you going to have like random spawn points for new characters? Because that's going to be a massacre. All those people making characters at the same time and just level 1's duking it out right there at the very beginning.
That's gonna be great. Actually, that would be a great thing. That first like weekend would make the whole thing worth it, I think.
How several thousand people or hundreds of people logging on at the same moment, and all the halflings just killing each other over there, just piles upon piles of dead corpses right there respawn. But then you're gonna have people who troll the other guys. They're like, I got to level 2 killing players, and I'm gonna keep killing these guys who are just spawning in. Because you get experience for killing, right?
I don't think you do. But,
okay.
But I would see. That's why I want teams, because I'd much rather see a bunch of like level 2 and 3 halflings come storming Quanos and wrecking a bunch of unsuspecting humans.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. The Dark Elves coming out of the forest, into the commons together as like an army.
I got my +2 intelligence silver rings from Dark Elves in Nectulu's Forest, because my little noob like level 20 guild used to raid players in Nectulu's Forest.
That would be absolutely nuts. Because then you would definitely be more of like we're a team of races going, and like it would really get into the roleplay aspect of the game a lot more. I don't see a lot of people roleplaying on P99, not nearly as much as I do on live. Like back in the day, you had trolls just sitting in front of the bank, blocking the door because because they're trolls, and you tell them to move and they like broken English reply back to you. Me don't understand what you're saying, and eventually they get up and move for you. But yeah, they were always just going around and causing little issues here and there. And I don't know, I kind of miss it.
I do too. I think it's like an age thing or a generation thing. I've noticed like most of the people who have done roleplay stuff tend to be like 30 and over, and most of the people who are less than that, there's like a gray area maybe of like 27 to 29 where they just were confused and may have fucking roleplayed a character somewhere. But and then younger than that, they just never had to do it because they were introduced with like World of Warcraft, and that just really wasn't a thing. But for things before that, like
D&D, man.
I played D&D. I played all kinds of dumb shit where I had to roleplay my ass off, and I was kind of super bummed when I got on EverQuest and saw that's really not how the majority of things were. And I know eventually they had a role-playing server where that was like an enforced like thing, but like I was already so bunkered down in my server and invested in that server that there's just no way I was gonna leave. Like it was never gonna happen. And
no, you put too much time in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, my servers seem to have a good little bit. People talking in different languages. I never see like language groups going on
Languages.
P99 anymore.
See, Teams PvP, make languages great again.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, languages were a big deal.
That would be cool. Only be able to speak in that language.
Mm-hmm. And then learning those enemy languages was a big deal too.
Although, I mean, I guess,
Make
if they were
everyone
on
in your guild learn dragon.
Oh my god, the countless hours of sitting in a group seeing the spam.
Just, sit on a boat. Make it happen.
That would be cool too. Maybe not getting rid of druids and wizard teleports, but I don't know, nerfing them somehow.
Just might as well get rid of them altogether.
No, like you nerf it somehow so that you can't use it as often. Maybe like once every 2 hours or something like that. So the boat actually becomes like, I just did my port for the last 2 hours. You're going to have to take the boat.
There's a lot of people that use the boat, even with wizards and druids being the way they are.
I don't know. I just miss the boat being able to walk up to the docks and seeing people sit there, and you get the conversation going just because you guys knew you had like a half an hour wait for that stupid boat to come in. And then when you got on it, you still had a long wait before you got to the next side, but very relaxing, had that sound and, the waves crashing. And just kind of that new sensation of going to another world that you hadn't experienced before.
Yeah. Yeah, my very first trip was like that, and in my first EQ trip was like that, and I remember getting on the boat for the OOT trip the first time and seeing all the different NPCs on the different islands and just being blown away by it all, and thinking it was this huge giant world, and I was seeing it all and taking it all in for the first time, and it was so exciting. I was making plans in my head for like what I was gonna do and when, if ever, I'd be able to kill these things. I ended up spending a lot of time in Ocean of Tears too, also because you can't port to it. So on a PvP server, it was nice because no one could just quickly port in and boom, they're in the zone with me, and I have to worry about getting jumped. Usually in Ocean of Tears, you check the zone constantly because you're crazy and you're scared, and then you see a new name and you're like, he's probably on the boat, and hopefully didn't just camp out there and log back in. But it was good. It was good.
Did you figure that out with the timers on like every 15 minutes checking to see who came in on the new boat and like 5 minutes later to see if they were out of the zone? Or
Oh, I would be checking time, like the zone, like every 3 or 4 minutes. Like it was constantly, because I was terrified all the time.
That'd be a really hard place to track somebody down unless you're a ranger or a druid or something.
Well, not really, because there's only like Ocean of Tears is big as hell, but there's only so many spots people are gonna be at based on level range. Like you know where to look. Like
Right.
if you're low level, like if we're like level 14 to 20 maybe, we're doing sirens on those rocks, and above that we're probably doing like gargoyles and maybe skeletons, but gargoyles. And a little later than that you might be doing the dwarfs on the back of Sister Island. After that you might be doing specters or sea furies or camping the AC. And
Wow, you spent a lot of time in that island.
I spent a lot of time in that zone. If I wasn't exploiting bad pathing from a city wall somewhere, I was in Ocean of Tears. And and so yeah, I learned. I also learned that I could levitate and J-boot run faster than the boat, and so then I could nuke people who were on the boat because they can't cast spells back.
Oh my god. That is horrible.
Yeah, so it's
But
kind of like a
that
pirate.
is amazing though, like the stuff you can think about while you're in that island and you're like, I'm just gonna kill some people on a boat, man. Did you see them like jump off into the water when you were doing it?
Oh, he totally
Try to
tried
fight
to
back?
jump off, but then I just dropped down and murdered him. So
Ugh. Dead in the water.
yeah,
What are,
no,
like, the-
it was fine. I looted him right away. Nothing to worry about. Don't worry.
Oh my god, that would be absolutely horrible. And you know he didn't get an LOC or anything like that.
No, he was super upset about it. I ended up putting him on ignore. I ended up putting a lot of people on ignore because I did that to a lot of people.
But that's amazing because like you're taking that journey, you're all astounded that the game is that big, and then all of a sudden here comes another player that you have to watch out for that has figured like this trick that you didn't even like consider for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I better take your money. That's pretty much
Yeah,
how
but
that goes.
keep your money in the bank. You're playing on a PvP server, man. You don't take your money with you.
Some people do.
That was, that's not a good idea. Unless of course you're going with teams.
Yeah, no, safety in numbers. That's true in every game. I learned that in Rust though. I got a real quick painful reminder about safety in numbers being a thing.
I mean, you were talking about Rust a little while back too. You were saying like they finally fixed it, so it's not quite.
Oh, they made
What
Rust
do you-
great again. They made it great
'Cause
again. It's just an open sandbox again. No more stupid leveling XP points, fucking unlocking things with points. None of that shit. You just find stuff and you make the things you need and you don't make the things you don't need. And I can make a bow at level in right out the gate. I'm naked. I have a rock and a torch. I pick some hemp. I fucking beat on a tree. I make a bow. Boom. We're in business. I like it. None
So
of
they
this.
listened to the viewers, or was it just something like you
They
think
had
they changed
to.
on
They
them?
had to. So many people were just openly like, this is fucked. And it wasn't just like we have players that are like, this is fucked, and we're like, fuck you, because it doesn't actually affect anything. Like they still log in, they still play, fucking, and also we're not like other game companies insofar as like we have to like make money. That's not a concern for us. We don't make money. Um, and they started losing sales. They started having people refund the game. They start having the big Rust streamers and YouTubers stop streaming and YouTubing Rust. Um, and so it was affecting them like on a level that they actually cared about. And so they fixed it.
But see, that's interesting because with P99, because you guys don't get paid for any of this, you guys don't necessarily have to listen to what the community is saying. If you think they're going down the wrong path, you guys think that maybe that has led you to go in other directions other game companies out there have never really explored just because of that reason?
Yes, absolutely. Just because, like, I know Nobog, I'm pretty sure he has said this publicly, but, like, he would keep doing classic EverQuest even if the population fell to one person. Like, he's not here to have the biggest server. He's not here to get as many people as possible. He legitimately does not give a shit. He's doing classic EverQuest, and if people want to play, they should play. And if they don't, then they should go somewhere else. But even if 100% of the player base was like, no, F this stuff, he wouldn't break from that. Now, there are some things that we've put into the game that are not classic that we feel make it better and more playable, and those types of things we do listen to players about and we do listen to feedback about, because like when we step in to make a thing, a custom change or something, we're doing it to help players, to make their lives easier. And so if we do something that's having the opposite effect of that, then obviously like it's not working the way we want it to work anyway. So we absolutely listen to them on those types of things. But
Well, there's tons of stuff in EverQuest that you could see that maybe one day the programmers thought I could come back to this and finish this quest off, or
sure,
maybe add a quest for this item. Is that something that, because I know you guys have maybe mentioned custom content way into the future, but it's something you guys are thinking about. Is that kind of the custom content you're talking about, as far as like maybe fixing some of the quests that should have been in there and that would definitely feel like classic, or just like completely like new zones altogether with new content?
I mean, how do I answer this without getting in trouble?
Or neither one, because we're not supposed to talk about
All right, so here's the thing. With classic content, basically anything that is not in the classic to Velius timeline that we are able to create, we would consider custom content.
Oh, okay. So, some of the zones that are kind of broken with pathing wise.
I mean, well, fixing zones is I don't think fixing things that exist would be considered custom content. But like maybe some I don't want to even give any examples.
Don't do that.
But definitely like it would be custom content. It wouldn't just be like, oh, let's fix this pathing issue that we didn't fix because they didn't fix it until Luckland.
Right. Or just never. I mean, I saw a lot of the old zones.
Or never. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got that Dark Elf NPC in West Freeport that just is stuck there by that wall forever.
Yep. Yeah, but that is actually just kind of funny. Like I like those little things that everybody's like, oh, that guy, yeah, he's been there forever. Like you can use them for directions and stuff now, but I don't know. I mean, with the custom content, are you thinking about letting people opt out of it, or is it just going to be it's in the game and like everybody has to be there for it?
I have no idea. That would all be like Nilbog Rogan turf. What I do know is Nilbog has expressed opinion publicly that no matter what happens, he would like some version of a like almost like a classic EQ museum that doesn't get fucked with, so that if we tinker around on other things, that's great, and if we do custom content, that's wonderful, but there will still be that classic EQ unsullied server
I like that. I like that idea because it's for like the hardcore classics, people who want that original experience without anything else added into it. They can go back to that one.
Yes, I mean they'll have that. I know everybody on staff would like to one day open another blue server that just progresses through the timeline correctly and doesn't need any work to be done. Just fires off the changes as they would occur in the timeline.
Right.
And so I imagine if we do that, that would probably serve as like this is the server that will stay classic, just because the timelines would already be correct. Whereas the current server spent at least 4 years in Kunark, and so things are a little different than they would be if we didn't spend 4 years in Kunark. But yeah, that's me just kind of thinking out loud. Like I don't actually have insider information on those things.
Oh, no, we wouldn't want you to expose it either. But it just, all this is a long ways off because you guys are doing other things at the moment, just trying to get the server set up the way you want it here as it is. So,
Right.
this is just speculation for those of you who are listening.
A+. Yeah, no, that's the big thing. Like it is me just kind of thinking out loud right now. If I actually knew any of the answers, I would have to be much more vague or just be like, I don't know, I'm not a dev, I can't talk about that. But if I actually start talking about something, that means I really have no idea. And so I can't get in trouble for anything because they know I have no idea.
With letting those kind of secrets out, do you find like the community just freaks out when they find you're going in a direction they don't like? I mean, is it
The
just
community always
so it's
freaks
a
out.
surprise?
Whenever we make a change, there's going to be a group of people that freak out. And it's not always the same group, but no matter what we do, some group is not going to like it. And so we always hear about how stupid we are and how dumb we are and how we're the worst things in the world. So
Oh man, it's like a thankless job. You guys hear this? You're making his life miserable. Maybe ease it up a little bit, take it down a notch. They are doing this for free, so that's a little nuts.
oh man.
Oh,
So
you're
yeah,
gonna get such, yeah. Oh, they're gonna hit me on that one.
they might. They might. That's again, that's what you signed up for.
Mm. I enjoy it. I like sharing the journey with everybody. It is such a long journey to get up to level 60. It has taken me about 2 years just to get to level 56, but
Mm-hmm.
that's because I'm filthy casual about it. When you play, because you played on this server, right? Back before you became a GM,
I did. I did.
you got up to what, level 60 in
Oh.
a year? Less than a year?
All right, time out. Chat people, I'm going to say if you have questions or anything, do an at Sirken or do an at AuthorChristopher if you have questions for one of us, and then we will see it, and then we will answer it, and hopefully words while I'm talking will give you enough time to ask your questions. If you don't have questions, that's going to be the end. So to answer your question, though, I don't know. I used to GM for a different project, and I used to kind of tinker on my necro here while GMing there, and I played super casually, just as like a side thing. And then when that project shut down, my guy was like 35-ish, and I was like, fuck it, I got a 35 over here. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna play. And so play I did, and I got to level 50, and I joined a raiding guild, and I raided things, and then Kunar came out, and then I got to level almost 60. I think I finished 60 while I was a guide. And then the GM at the time got bounced, and they asked me if I wanted to be the GM, and so I gave up my playing character and became a GM.
As far as that topic goes, I've heard of people kind of asking about what it takes to be a GM. What would your
Uh,
biggest recommendation be before somebody goes in there and applies?
well, first of all, you should probably take some kind of drug every day, be it smoking or drinking or pills, something. You also need to have a certain level of like self-loathing, and and you actually need thick skin. Like, if there's literally anything that could come out of my mouth or anyone's mouth that would offend you, you don't have thick skin. And I don't mean like the hidden away, like I'd only know this thing like if I knew you when you were like 6 years old type of thing, but just the general things that I could say. Um, and yeah, if you hit all of those qualifications, then you could probably definitely be a successful staff member. You also have to deal with me giving you shit if you say or ask something really stupid, because sometimes I have really bad days, and when I see somebody ask a stupid question, they're gonna get a real stupid answer, and and I just feel like that's how people learn things, because that's how I was always taught things.
The hard way.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit.
make me feel dumb about it, and then I'm going to learn pretty quickly. But then also, I've had staff members like straight up quit because of that, so it's something I try really hard not to do. But it could happen. And so yeah, self-loathing and ability to deal with me and actually having thick skin and drugs. Those are the check marks.
And a lot of hours. I think you had
Oh, so
like
many
26
hours.
or something?
So many hours. I don't know what we're asking for as a minimum for guides. We lowered it again. But I mean, shit, I don't even want to talk about how many hours some of us put in on staff. It's not a good thing. I told people to ask questions, and then I didn't even look. So I'm gonna scroll up real quick. Spawn Halo says how many people are on your shit list. That's private classified information. Fuck your key rings. Let's talk about monks. Fuck monks. No, you know what? We will talk about monks. Monks have an ego problem. And I don't know what it is or what causes it, but I swear to God, every monk in a raiding guild thinks they are God's gift to this planet. And I have news for all of them. They're not. They're not. I don't know where the ego comes from, but it needs to go away, because most of you are garbage. And if you weren't garbage, I wouldn't have a goddamn petition form full of so and so couldn't control their mobs. So fucking play better and don't have an ego until you fucking get there. Amsterdam, I don't know what you're saying about Kedge, but and AC, I know you mentioned Kedge earlier. I actually love Kedge Keep. I love it very, very much.
Oh yeah, for sure. Same here. It just doesn't get a lot of love.
It doesn't, but if you know your way through it, it's a great, usually empty place, and you usually get the whole thing to yourself. And even on PvP servers, again, like, you'll know when people are coming, like they can't just sneak up on you. Envy Vendetta, hello. When will Halloween raffle be announced? Not here, or not tonight. Maybe here. I don't know. Not tonight. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Greengrocer's here. Hello, Greengrocer. More keyring stuff. Why don't you share your fruit snacks? Because I'm a horrible greedy person. I don't even have a good reason. I just won't. Why is your shitty channel have more people watching than people that are playing on Red 99? That is an amazing question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an answer for you though. I'm sorry, Deadly Apostle. I'm sorry. Let's see. Should I guide? Probably not. Will monks always Membler and Fiend Death and Snake all mobs turn around? This was fixed mid 214. Blah 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 blah. That's not classic, so probably not going to be a thing. And I think we're done. Do you have anything you want to throw out there, AC?
No, I'm good, man. But thank you for having me on your show.
I'm glad you came on. It was good. I've been a fan of your stream. I actually don't have that linked ready, but I had your YouTube link ready. But that's your YouTube, and if you just put the Twitch word stuffs in front of the AuthorChristopher stuff. So that will take you to, if you say something in chat, actually, they can just click your name, and that would make everything easier. And then they can click that and follow you there. But yeah, he's one of the EverQuest streamers, P99 streamers I actually enjoy a lot. So, I just got super important Skype messages. And so, yeah, I'm actually really glad you come on. I've been meaning to have you on for a while, but I've been sickly and busy, so I haven't been streaming. But I'm hoping to fix that now that the holidays are over, and yeah. So that's my story.
You're sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to that story. Fucking, I'm gonna put you on hold, and I'm gonna say goodbye to these fine people, and then we'll talk again. Boop. All right, guys. Oh, guys, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, and I am glad so many of you fine pals joined this evening. I don't know if you are casual scumlords or if you are the raider type neckbeards, but either way, thanks for hanging out. If you are raiders, good luck with your windows, because I know that's a thing. And if you are casuals, enjoy the open campness while the neckbeards are sitting in TOV and Kale and wherever the hell else they're currently camping mobs. Hope you guys have a good night. If you missed things, you want to catch up on things, youtube.com/SirkenP99. It just popped up on the screen so I can read it. And project1999.com for all the EverQuest things. Cause just between you and me, we still do that shit better than anyone else on the internet. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And looking for the right video because I fucked that up in the beginning. Boop-a-doop-doop. Found it. You guys have a great night. Bye.